What's good?
I'm tryna run from this shit, but I keep chasing. A honey bun for this whip, not the cheap pastry. You still one in this state, you got weak vision. I'm still puffing, I build black to my teeth missing. I still wanna hit better.
They said, what's your thoughts on Yeat?
He's hard, though.
I didn't hear what you said before that. What'd you say?
He's hard.
Oh, type shit. He is. Shout out to Yeat.
On October 18, 2024, Yeat would drop his highly anticipated 5th studio album titled Lyfestyle. On the exact same day, an up-and-coming artist named Ian would also drop his album, Goodbye Horses. Now, rappers dropping on the same day is not a new phenomenon, but Yeat and Ian are not just peers in this situation, and more so competitors battling over a particular sound. A sound that Yeat had already popularized around 2021 when he first started gaining recognition. But see, Yeat came across a problem earlier this year in February when he dropped his previous album titled 2093. This project brought a ton of mixed reviews. While some people stated it was their favorite project to date, many others were dissatisfied, stating that he may have got too carried away in trying to evolve his sound, leaving some fans craving for his old style that made him famous back. And this is where Ian came in.
Yeah.
Ian initially was gaining popularity on TikTok and Instagram Reels where he shared snippets of his music, but there's no doubt that the main reason people were drawn to him was the fact that he sounded very similar to Yeat. Comments like this one started appearing. If Yeat keeps that cyberpunk style, then I can for sure see you going up and picking up where he left off with that old sound. From here on out, the comparisons started and have not left since, with Yeat even possibly dissing Ian for it on a number of tracks, leaving fans wondering if the two are genuinely beefing or if this is all part of a larger marketing scheme on both ends. As I mentioned, Ian started getting recognition in early 2024, but he's actually been making music for a number of years now. Starting off as a producer initially, he was just making beats. Around 2022, he hopped in the booth and started experimenting with music himself. But taking a look back, once again, it's extremely obvious who he was getting inspiration from. His initial songs would only garner him a couple thousand fans. That was until his song Wimbledon started blowing up earlier this year. After this dropped, everybody started tuning in, and suddenly he was all over the internet. And we started seeing posts like this stating, "Who the fuck is Ian, and why do I keep seeing him everywhere?" There's no debate he was the talk of the town for a number of reasons. Firstly, and the most obvious reason, was the comparisons to Yeat, but we'll get back to that in a second. Secondly was the industry plant allegations. Now, when an artist starts appearing on every hip-hop page out of nowhere, people immediately start pulling the industry plant card. This one's pretty easy to debunk, seeing that he's been making music for years, and his come-up wasn't actually as quick as it may seem. But he does have a very important person helping him pull strings behind the scenes. Akon's brother, who goes by the name Boo, has a subdivision at Columbia Records called Boo Vision. He may not be well known to the general public, but he's very tapped into the industry. He was Kanye West's manager for many years, and he was also the person who discovered T-Pain in the early 2000s, as well as many other big names. And now he's Ian's A&R, which means Ian now has access to someone with 2 decades of experience behind him. So of course everything he does is going to be calculated and likely planned out, including dropping his album on the same day as the very artist that he's being compared to, just to build some type of hype and attention. Last but not least, Ian still has to beat the allegations of the corny white rapper also. Like many before him, being white and rapping, you're very prone to looking disingenuous and sounding corny, making people unable to take you serious. Some artists are able to easily break out of this, for example, Eminem, who eventually went on to be one of the most respected rappers of all time, or Mac Miller, who also dealt with this early on in his career, but he was able to evolve and go on to make some of the best music of his generation. But on the other hand, you have artists like Macklemore and Lil Dicky, who fully embraced being corny and made it part of their brand. And although they've also had their fair share of success, it's safe to say they're not respected as quote-unquote rappers. Ian decided to go for a little bit of both of these. The first evidence of this is his name. Instead of going by a moniker like most artists, he simply chose to go by his government name. No spin on it or anything, just Ian, plain and simple. In addition, his whole social media presence backs this up. He's almost always underdressed and giving off the impression that he's not trying. Plain t-shirt and sweatpants doing some everyday regular things while the snippet of his music is playing in the background. But when you hear the music, you're thrown off because it doesn't match the image he's portraying, which is his marketing strategy in a nutshell. This shit's so corny to me, and I can't get past his look. Bro looks like a sophomore at Arizona University. This is just one of many similar comments. On his From the Block debut, which is usually filmed somewhere grungy, Ian's was filmed at a dinner table outside surrounded by family, eating what looks like a nice Thanksgiving meal while he raps on a trap beat. In addition, his album cover for Valedictorian was literally a meme. So although he plays the trope of the regular vanilla white guy, on the music side he plays the trope of every rapper, singing about flexing, cars, women, which creates the shock value. Yeat, on the other hand, couldn't be more different despite having their music have a similar sound. He's also half white, but never dealt with that problem in particular. It could be because for the better part of his career he almost never showed his face and instead took the mysterious route. Or it could be the simple fact that he never brought attention to it and just made hard music, whereas Ian made it part of his branding. But the two have gone through almost the exact same experiences. Yeat, just like Ian, also dealt with and had to beat the industry plant allegations when he started. With one user posting on Reddit, Yeat the biggest industry plant in the game, they trying so hard to push him to be the next 6ix9ine. Or this user who made an entire video about it.
Yeat. His name most likely rings a bell, pun intended. Over the last few months he has permeated across the internet culture and rap music as a whole. And while his rise initially seems meteoric and organic, I think that once you look at it closely you realize that in all likelihood he is an industry plant.
But that's not the only thing they share in common. The same way people are accusing Ian of stealing Yeat's style, they also said Yeat stole Playboi Carti's style. We can't deny the fact that Whole Lotta Red and its production definitely pushed artists like Yeat. Without Carti, I don't think Alive or Up To Me would sound the way it does. Yeat definitely inspired by Carti. Needless to say, the very comments that were made about Yeat are almost identical to what's now being said about Ian. Yeat's bastard son and Timu Yeat, just to name a few. Instead of straying away from the comments, he simply just kept going with it and embraced the comparisons. Doing so only gave him more publicity, and in under a year his following has grown from a few thousand to almost 1 million. At the time he released his song Figure It Out 6 months ago, he had only 1,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. At the time of this recording, he's sitting at around 5 million monthly listeners. There's no question that his music is good and he's garnered a true fan base. But if you were to eliminate the controversy and all the buzz it brought, these numbers would be much different. At the same time that people were doubting Yeat in his 2093 project, Ian popped up with a reminiscent sound of what people were accustomed to. Fans arguing over who is better and who copied who has only benefited both artists in a major way. But that's not to say that Yeat wasn't annoyed at the attention his so-called clone was now getting. In April of 2024, Yeat uploaded a snippet from his song Eliminate. In it he rapped, "Oh, you trying to take my sauce from me, gotta give that back." A line that is almost certainly aimed at Ian. This song would recently be released on his album, but that was recorded and teased for almost 6 months. The more the fans argue, the more popular they both get, which brought us to October 18th, the release date of both their albums. Underground Sound posted, "A debate gets settled tonight." There was no better time for the two to go head to head after nearly a year of non-stop comparison. For Yeat, he needed this as a way to remind everyone that he was still the king of his own sound. And for Ian, he needed this as a way to solicit himself and prove he was here to stay. The underground and rap community as a whole ate this marketing up and everybody had an opinion. In the worst case scenario, both of their albums got listened to, both of them gained new listeners, and both of them got free promotion from the internet. Last week, Ian appeared on Max's stream where he was asked his thoughts on Yeat. He simply replied, "He's hard."
They said, what's your thoughts on Yeat?
I feel like this is something that's happening. He's hard.
I didn't hear what you said before that. What'd you say?
He's hard.
Oh, type shit. He is. Shout out to Yeat.
It's unlikely that there's any kind of actual beef between the two personally. And much like a lot of rap beefs, 99% of it is actually just fans choosing a side.